They're crazy, all right. Crazy about the truth. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 times the crazy guy was right in sci-fi movies.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
For this list, we're looking at characters in science fiction films who, despite being seen as off their rocker, turn out to be spot on in their suppositions. And given the various truth bombs in this list, a spoiler alert is now in effect. Number 10. Dr. Hermann Gottlieb, Pacific Rim. When dealing with a hostile race of genetically engineered amphibious creatures, it's best to be prepared.
But we could hold our own in the fight. And it turns out we had a unique skill. We were drift compatible.
It's just too bad nobody was prepared to heed the warnings of Pan-Pacific Defense Corps scientist Hermann Gottlieb. Following complex calculations, Hermann surmised that these strange beasts would be increasing their attacks exponentially.
In 4 days, we could be seeing a kaiju every 8 hours until they are coming every 4 minutes. Marshal, we should witness a double event within 7 days.
He warned that the next set of occurrences would be not in months or weeks, but rather days or even hours, all leading to simultaneous events. But as is often the case with predicting impending giant monster assaults, Hermann's theory was dismissed, to the detriment of humankind.
And this is the point where he goes completely crazy.
Number 9. Charlie Frost, 2012. A fringe science conspiracy theorist / radio talk show host probably shouldn't be relied upon to correctly predict imminent global cataclysms.
It's the apocalypse. End of days. The judgment day. The end of the world, my friend. Christians called it the rapture, but the Mayans knew about it. The Hopis, the I Ching.
But then again, maybe they should. Broadcasting among the wilderness of Yellowstone National Park, Charlie Frost rightfully forewarned his listeners that a worldwide disaster was well on its way. His proof? Why, the Mayan calendar, of course.
In ancient times, the Mayan people were the first civilization to discover that this planet had an expiration date. According to their calendar, in the year 2012, a cataclysmic event will unfold caused by an alignment of the planets in our solar system that only happens every 640,000 years.
Oh, and he also accused the government of covering the whole thing up in a massive conspiracy. Alas, poor Charlie ended up crumbling along with the Earth's crust, but at least he went out knowing his diatribes were not in vain.
I have goosebumps, people!
Number 8. Dr. Matthew Bennell, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Alien pod people have taken over human bodies. What's not to believe?
Lock the door.
They're coming! They're coming! Help! Help! They're coming! They're coming! Listen to me! Listen!
Out of his skull.
Help me! You're next, please! Please! You're next! We're in danger! Please, listen to me!
Will, Health Inspector Matthew Bennell found himself in quite the uphill battle when it came to sharing his body snatching theory. Following his own bout of conviction, Matthew tried warning the authorities of the bizarre phenomenon being experienced by his friends and colleagues.
And Mr. Bennell, we're asking for your discretion from now on because this whole thing might be abating.
When he's met with overall unhelpfulness, Matthew becomes convinced that the alien doppelgangers have now infiltrated the local government. They have integrated more of the population than he thought. The pod people are everywhere, and no one can be trusted. He was right, of course. Number 7. Major William Cage, Edge of Tomorrow. Being stuck in a time loop during an alien attack is bad enough.
What I'm about to tell you sounds crazy. It's true. And you have to listen to me. Your very lives depend on it.
Unsuccessfully trying to warn others of their imminent dire fate while in said loop? That's perhaps worse. Well, Major William Cage finds himself in this exact scenario when he gets a face full of toxic alien blood and accidentally sets off his unfortunate predicament. Luckily, amid the recurring chaos, Cage meets a notorious soldier who knows all too well the situation at hand.
You do know what's happening to me.
Come with me. Now.
So alongside Sergeant Rita Vertasky, Williams successfully equips an army into super soldiers ready to battle alien scum. Aren't never-ending time loops just so much better when there's someone who believes you?
Hold on! Now
remember, cross the trench, 12 o'clock, then look to your right.
Number 6, Detective Del Spooner, I, Robot. Perhaps no one in the history of cinema has a bigger robot vendetta than Detective Del Spooner.
Let me ask you something, Doc. Does thinking you're the last sane man on the face of the earth make you crazy?
In a futuristic world where robots are unanimously viewed as harmless helpers, Spooner is convinced these mechanical objects are capable of much more than meets the eye. In short, he doesn't trust them. And while his robot paranoia is fairly excessive, to say the least, it's not like Del's without his reasons.
Save her! Save the girl!
When a robot intervened following a car accident and chose to save him over a young girl, in his eyes, it all but proved that these hunks of metal and lights are unfit for humanity. Of course, no one believed him, until it was nearly too late. Number 5, Joe Brody, Godzilla. Apparently believing in colossal predatory monsters has a way of making others think you're more than a little crazy.
And oh my God, there it is. Whatever it is that's in there, whatever it is they're guarding so carefully, started talking again.
Take William Randa, the sole survivor of a warship attack by an unidentified Titan. He spent 30 years attempting to prove that such monsters exist.
Monsters exist.
No shit.
Nobody believed me. Yesterday I was a crackpot.
And then there's Joe Brody, an engineer at the Janjira nuclear power plant who witnessed his wife perish during a devastating breach. A breach he believed was caused by something other than what he was being fed to believe.
You keep telling everybody that this place is a death zone, but it's not. You're lying. Because what's really happening is that you're hiding something out there.
Sure, Brody's decade-plus obsession left him a little on the nutty side, but he was right all along about the Godzilla-sized cover-up. Number 4, Howard Stambler, 10 Cloverfield Lane. Former U.S. sailor Howard Stambler has all the hallmarks of a wacko survivalist psychopath.
Russians are developing some nasty stuff, and if the Martians finally figured out a way to get here, their weapons will make the Ruskies look like sticks and stones. Luckily, I prepared for this.
Underground bunker? Check. Far-fetched conspiracy theories? Check. Imprisoned civilians? Check. Of course, Stambler believes he's helping his prisoners, providing them shelter from the toxic outside air and attacking aliens. As you might imagine, his captives have other thoughts on the situation, especially following the discovery that a previous hostage was, well, disposed of.
After I saved you and kept you safe, this is how you repay me.
It's not until Howard dies and an escape from the bunker is made that we realize just how crazy right he was.
Come on.
Number 3, Sarah Connor, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Sounding the alarm on time-traveling Terminators, the inevitable robo-apocalypse, and subsequent nuclear Armageddon is apparently enough to get you thrown in the loony bin.
You're already dead, everybody. You're dead already. This whole place, everything you see is gone.
That was the case for Sarah Connor, mother of the future leader of the Resistance, and for a time, an inmate at a maximum security prison for the mentally insane. Ironically, when human resistance fighter Kyle Reese was sent back in time to protect her, Sarah herself questioned everything she now believes to be true.
Not a robot. Cyborg. Cybernetic organism.
No, he was bleeding.
We get it. The whole robot war apocalypse thing is a pretty hard sell. That is, until the relentless cyborgs start showing up. Then they believe you. Number 2, Dr. Emmett Doc Brown, Back to the Future. Would you believe a kooky old inventor if he told you he'd come up with the means of making time travel possible after slipping off a toilet and hitting his head?
You were standing on your toilet and you were hanging a clock and you fell and you hit your head on the sink. And that's when he came up with the idea for the flux capacitor, which is what makes time travel possible.
Well, what if you confirmed this story with his past self? You know, after you accidentally rode off in his plutonium-fueled time machine built out of a DeLorean sports car?
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Doc Emmett Brown may come across as a crazy kook, but there is no denying his results. Trust us, you won't need roads where Doc's genius takes you.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Right, Marty? It's called a flux capacitor, and you had better believe Doc Brown. Aren't the crazy guys like the best characters? We have one that, honestly, you really would never have believed if he were a real-life person, but it turns out he was right, and he stepped up when we needed him even though no one bought what he was selling. So, let's look through some honorable mentions, and then we'll see which movie crazy guy was the most right.
What the hell does this have to do with anything? Tell me what's happening!
Well, you're having a nervous breakdown. That's what's happening.
You're part of this, aren't you?
Now what the hell are you talking about? Over.
Bert, they're under the ground. They're under the ground. They can dig like a son of a bitch. Big monsters underground. Now get out. Hurry!
The more I try to think back, the more it all starts to unravel. None of it seems real. It's like I've just been dreaming this life, and when I finally wake up, I'll be somebody else.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Russell Casse, Independence Day. With the vast amount of reported alien abductions out there, we probably shouldn't be too surprised if otherworldly creatures eventually touch down on our big blue marble of a planet. Unfortunately, most alien whistleblowers resemble Russell Casse.
You've got to stop them! I was kidnapped by space aliens 10 years ago! They did all kinds of experiments on me! They've been studying us for years! Finding out our weaknesses! We've got to stop them! They're gonna kill us all!
A former fighter pilot turned laughingstock alcoholic, Casse is dismissed by everyone, including his children, as just another whack job who believes in the existence of extraterrestrials.
Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
It's the wrong field, you idiot.
Russell gets the last laugh, however, as hostile aliens do arrive on Earth, leading the old war vet to spring back into action at the most opportune time.
It's me, Russell Casse, sir. I told you I wouldn't let you down. Just keep those guys off me for a few more seconds, will ya?
Well then, maybe it's time we start to believe the Russell Casses of the world.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.